Hey guys, Coach Jason here. This video today is going to be very, very valuable. So watch the whole thing. This is going to be especially valuable for a new coach, an athlete's becoming a coach, someone who wants to become a coach in the near future, someone who's studying to be a coach. It can be a great value to experienced coaches as well. A lot of experienced coaches may have been through a lot of this stuff or may be resistant to accepting new ideas. I hope that's not the case, but either way, I want to share this video because I think it will be beneficial for everybody. And I'd rather post stuff like this because from 20 years as a coach now to over almost 30 years as a competitive athlete and a coach, there were certain times where I had to learn the hard way, and on both sides. And I would rather share this information so that you don't have to go through that path. I'd rather, if anything on here can put you one step ahead or two steps ahead, I'm hoping that that's the case, and I'm happy to do that. So I want to share this information. All right. So let's go through this. Important tips for new coaches. All right. Number one. By the way, some of these things are obvious. Some of them are not, but it's also great to have different perspectives from different people. I learn from my athletes. I've learned from other coaches, and I hope others have learned from me as well. But sharing different perspectives is important because we all have different experiences, especially coming from different areas. Dealing with different personalities. So it's important to share these things. So anyway, number one, coach with your eyes and not just with your watch and your notes. Okay? I think taking notes and recording workouts and runs and getting as much notes as possible is a great thing so you can analyze things afterward. But there are things called instincts too. Okay? Stopwatch only tells you the times. Coaching, what I mean by coaching with your eyes is say, for instance, your training groups, right? And you're going to do a workout today. It's a Tuesday, and you had a race on Saturday. And you may notice that some people are not as bouncy in their warm-up, a little bit sluggish in their run and their warm-up and their drills and so on and so forth. That could be a sign that certain people have not yet recovered from the race, especially if it's a longer race. And this goes for you as well. If you run a half marathon or a 10K on a Saturday and you want to come back and do a workout on a workout on Tuesday, well, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be fully recovered. It especially depends on the type of workout you want to do. So coaching with your eyes and observing your athletes is an important thing. And observing, and listening too. If somebody tells you they're not feeling too great today, just take that data, take that information, and if it's legitimate, then it's something to legitimately talk about or address, okay, or both. So anyway, the training groups, and there's another good sign here too. If you see you have, let's say you have three groups of 5 athletes, right? And let's say group number 1, the number 5 guy or gal, is working twice as hard just to stay up with the group, even though he or she is running the same times. That may be a good sign to put that 5 person in the second group, and he or she might be a great leader of that second group, and help pull them along and help her improve or him improve as well a little bit more rapidly or more effectively than they would in that first group. So again, observing workouts, observing runs, observing warm-ups, observing races, and go a long way towards learning a lot about your athletes and learning about the changes that you might need to make. I will post some videos from my channel down below, and if you like running content, training videos, anything pertaining to coaching and running, click the subscribe button and click the bell next to the subscribe button so that you know every time I post a new video and you have direct access to I've got 3 dozen videos so far, and I'll be posting more videos more regularly, and everything from training plans all the way from cross country to 5K all the way up to the marathon, detailed by the day, by the week, by the month. Injury prevention, how to set the right training paces based on certain time trials and certain races. There's a lot of good information on there. So if you find this valuable, and please click the like button if you find this valuable too. And if you have any insights of your own, please drop a comment down below. I respond to all my comments, and I'm happy to learn from you guys and gals as much as you hopefully learn from me. So the second thing I want to show you is, like I mentioned already, recovery. Are you recovering enough? And I'll point out something else. And the longer your races are, the more recovery that you're going to need, more recovery days that you'll need. And I'll go over this again. Let's say you're training for a marathon and you run let's say a 5K and a 10K and a half marathon along the way, or just a 10K and a half marathon. Well, if you run a 10K on Saturday, you can come back on a, maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday definitely and do a workout. But if you run a half marathon, it may take a couple extra days. So I would recommend doing the workout maybe Thursday or Friday. You don't necessarily need 2 workouts every week, especially if you run a long race halfway in between the training program, training plan, or training schedule towards your bigger race. So longer races need more recovery days. Right? Just keep that in mind. You always want to keep an eye out as to whether you or your athletes are recovering enough. Number 2, and this boils down to individualization of training, which is number 2. Okay, not everybody's going to respond the same way to the same training. Okay, let's go back to those 3 groups of 5. You might have one group that needs 70 miles a week, another group that needs 60, another group that needs 50, and that's okay. The individualization of training is important because ideally, at the end of the day, you want your athletes to be there when it counts the most, to be at their best when it counts the most. And observing what they respond to and what they don't respond to goes a long way as to helping you put them in a position to do just that. So, and again, you don't need them to be there 6 weeks from their key race. You want them to be there towards the end. And you have about a 6 to 8 week window of peak racing fitness. So designing your training in such a way and making adjustments along the way kind of helps you achieve that goal. Okay? And again, same goal, different paths. Some people may need more threshold work. Some people may need more a longer long run. Some people may need a little bit more speed development. The key is putting your athletes in a position to be as well-rounded as possible and successful. All right. So number 3, consistency is key, and that goes across the board. Obviously, your athletes, you want to be consistent in your training and your approach. Okay. I'll give you an example too. If you're training for a marathon, right, and the marathons are in the morning, it's a good idea to have your long runs in the morning, okay? So that you have a consistency of getting up and running a long period of time in the morning after sleep, and then learning how to recover afterward and so on. Or if you have a day off scheduled every 2 weeks, and you happen to miss a day in the first week, that doesn't mean you switch it around, or if you're running 70 miles one week and they miss a day the following week, that doesn't mean they need to run 70 miles the following week to make it up. Okay, consistency is important as to how you set up your training for your athletes. It's also important as to your approach as a coach. Being consistent as a coach is very, very, very important. All right, especially beginning coach, you want to set the tone, and you want your athletes to know that you are available and that you're not. You are the real deal. The way I look at it is, as a coach, I'm not going to promise ribeye to my athletes and then deliver them rump roast. Okay, then that's to me that's a fraud. Okay, so it's important to be consistent in everything that you do. Okay, and that goes for athletes and coaches. And again, there's no magic formula. There's no magic peak. There's no magic workout. Okay, it's consistent work over an extended period of time. If you're doing all the things that you need to do and recovering your training and recovering along the way, you don't need to make drastic changes at the end of a season to achieve some magic peak or breakthrough. You'll be there when you need it to be if you're doing the right things all along. Okay, and I encourage you to watch some of my other videos because I go through stuff like this. I go through periodization, and I explain how it takes 3 to 4 weeks to adapt to a certain body of training or a training stimulus. Okay, generally, folks like to do a 1 to 2 week drastic taper towards the end. As a peaking, well, the problem I have with that is that's less than 3 to 4 weeks. Your body's not having a chance to adapt to that drastic change, so you're not going to be able to maximize that peak. So it's just a train of thought. Take a look at my other videos, and I'll post them down below in the description so you can go right to them. All right, they'll be very helpful, and I encourage you to watch them in their entirety because I go through and I explain things all along, not just the first minute, not the last minute. Watch the entire video so that you can get the benefit of all the information in the video. Okay, so it goes back to consistency. Also ties into periodization, and periodization is what I just mentioned. Blocks of training. So let's say you have a 12-week marathon program. Right? You're giving yourself 12 weeks to train for a marathon. I personally recommend 3 blocks of 4 weeks each where you introduce a different stimulus each 4 weeks. Okay, so that you're catching your marathon on the upswing. And the same thing goes for cross country or training for 5Ks. You want to catch your key race on the upswing instead of catching it on the way down. The last thing you want to do is do too much of this and ignore that, and then come into a race where the situation or the environment is something that you're completely foreign. That's completely foreign to you, and you haven't addressed those types of things in training. So being able to introduce new stimuli within periodization every couple of weeks is an important part of the progression as an athlete. Okay? And again, be at your best when it counts the most. That's the idea. And especially if you're a coach, high school cross-country coach or track or college, you know this. As the season progresses, the races get harder. There's more pressure building. The expectations go higher. So the more prepared you are towards the end, the better off you're going to be to take advantage of those higher expectations and pressure. Okay? And like I said, there's no magic peak. Do the work for a consistent period of time. You'll be there when you need it the most. There's this one quote I have on my refrigerator, okay, and it makes sense, and I look at it every day, and I think it might be helpful to you, and you could tell your athletes this. There's only one place in the world where success comes before work: the dictionary. Period. Okay? That quote it resonates every day to me. You don't do the work, you're not going to be there when you need it the most. And the last thing I want to talk about is communication and transparency. Also very important. Set the expectations not only with your athletes, but with their families as well. Okay, you may have be coaching in high school or college. This is more tailored to high school, where you have families who travel a lot. Well, if your athlete's traveling with their family, they go on vacations. Well, a week vacation doesn't mean a week off from running. Okay, you have to set the expectations early on that you're expecting them to run while they're away with the family. Okay, maybe abbreviated, but you're expecting them to still do what they need to do because they're still part of the team. You still want to hold them accountable, and your other athletes are going to hold each other accountable. So it's stuff like that. Set the expectations here. I want you to be here for practice. Okay, and the people who want to come to practice will be there on a daily basis. So, but it's still important to set expectations, no matter who you're coaching. Okay. And it's also important to let them, what are their expectations of you as a coach, or give them your expectations of this is what I expect to give you girls and guys as a coach as well. So it goes both ways. Be available. Okay, be available for your athletes, to listen to your athletes, talk to your athletes. It's always good to have open lines of communication, and strong communication lines really goes a long way towards helping build better relationships, and also helps create a team identity, okay, and a good team identity. And the team identity changes every year, okay, but being available just to listen or to answer questions or give feedback is a great thing, because you will learn from your athletes as well, okay. I learn from them just as much as they learn from me. And last thing, just listen and learn. I've had athletes who have made great suggestions along the way, and they'll say great things or just give you a pearl that you don't think is, you're like, oh, I've been a coach for 25 years and I've never even heard of that. And what you just said was brilliant. So just listen, take data, take information. And that goes on both ends. Listen to if your athlete's telling you that he or she's not feeling well or maybe hurt, just listen and look into it at the very least and see if it's a legitimate concern or a legitimate issue. So anyway, I hope this list is helpful. The next video I'm going to be posting, and I'm going to post that tomorrow, is certain things, or 7 things you should not overlook when it comes to running. Okay, it's a very, very important video. And some of these things are outside the box. Some of these things are different perspectives, or things that you won't normally think of every day. So I encourage you to click the subscribe button and then click the bell next to it so that you know when it comes out. And take a look at the videos I'm attaching down below in the description so that you know exactly how to tie these things, and especially if you're a new coach, they'll put you 10 steps ahead of the game. So, and then enjoy all the other videos on my channel as well. I do have an Instagram account, and my profile is Black Belt Running Coach. I put a lot of running content on there as well, so please follow me on Instagram. If you have any personalized questions or need any personal advice or coaching, my email is blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. I would be more than happy to help you out. So, and I am a USATF certified track and field coach, distance coach, and a Wharton certified musculoskeletal flexibility technician and therapist. So I just wanted to point that out as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great season, and I'll talk to you next time.